Hey guys, this is Jekar with my first attempt at a battle report. This was a 2,500 point game between my Orcs and Goblins and my friend Tsukefox and his Skaven. Here's the first picture of our deployment. From left to right, we've got a Goblin Spear Chucker, 5 Goblin Wolf Riders, a Night Goblin level 1 Shaman. That's my guy with the Dispel Scroll, and that's a pretty stupid place to put him, as you'll see a little bit later. Next to the Doomed Shaman is the Arachnarok Spider. I've got some terrain that I've lightly modded it with, and you can see it's a work in progress. His name is Boron, the mighty 5th element. Beside Boron is a Boar Chariot. Alright, in this picture we can see my unit of squigs. I have 24 with some troll fillers and 10 handlers. Next to them are 40 Savage Orc Biggins with additional hand weapons and a Standard Bearer. They do not have a big stabba, but I like the way the model looks, so I went ahead and put it together and stuck it in the unit. The white thing in the front there is my level 4 Savage Orc Great Shaman. It's already primed, and the banner in color is my Savage Orc BSB that I've converted up. Maybe we'll get a better picture of him later. Behind the Savage Star is another level 1 Night Goblin who is just naked. He's just there to hang out. Behind them is a Rock Lava with its crew. Alright, here in this third picture we have my block of 90 Night Goblins. You can tell they're in white. They have spears, nets, and a standard. Now the 3 guys in front with great big weapons, black hoods, and red shirts are the Night Goblin big bosses with, oddly enough, great weapons. They're just there to add some punch. I like the way they work, and if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll know what red shirts imply for those poor goblins. Next to the goblins, we've got Boar Chariot. On the back there, we have a Spear Chucker and my modded Doom Diver. There's a goblin head sticking out of that scratched up dwarf cannon there. And then we end my line with 2 Goblin Wolf Chariots. This picture is an overview of my opponent's army. From left to right, we've got a Great Eagle. We've got 20 Dryads, 2 Branch Wraiths. One has the Cluster of Radiance, one has the Annoyance of Netlings. They're standing next to that pillar with a cave squig on it is an Altar of Cain, and it makes them frenzied within 6 inches. Next to them is 20 archers, Glade Guard, I guess, with full command. Next to them is another 20 archers with full command and the flaming banner. His life mage is not in that unit, excuse me. Next to them is a unit of 30 Eternal Guard. They're ranked 5 wide, they have full command, and they have a noble BSB in there. The Fast Cab that is vanguarded up there are Glade Riders. They have a musician, and the Life Weaver is in that unit on a steed. He's got the Rhymer's Harp and the Channel Rod. And alright, so I don't actually have any pictures from turn 1. Turn 1 was pretty uneventful. The Dryads, because they're frenzied, restrained from charging my wolves on the left flank, but the eagle does charge the wolves. They run from it and they get away. Everything else pretty much scoots up, and the scouts actually go through the river over there and lose 2 to dangerous terrain tests. I forget what kind of river it was, but it was one that said every model tests, and we just kind of played it that way, so they passed their panic. In Magic, nothing really happened. In shooting, he definitely took out the dumbly placed shaman that was in front of my wolves, like I pointed out. The rightmost chariot took a wound, as well as 9 wounds to my savages. Now, that really annoyed me. 40 shots, hitting on 4s, wounding on 5s with the 5-up ward. I was really pretty annoyed about that. I mean, I saved 1 out of 10 wounds, but anyway, life goes on. Alright, so on to my turn 1. As you can see, I've done something really exciting with my wolves. I did that to keep them away when they charged. I didn't think that he had enough wheeling to actually get into the bolt thrower after he charged my wolf rider. So pretty much I sacrificed the wolf riders for the bolt thrower, which may or may not have been a great play. I really wanted the bolt thrower to shoot at some treekin, but I kind of screwed the pooch there because I can't shoot at the treekin this turn. So anyway, oh, and if I forgot to mention, the Energizer Bunny back there is actually a sinister statue. It's been plinking some wounds off of me, annoyingly enough, much like the old commercials. In this picture you can see the rest of my line just advance, and oh no, what happened to the goblin horde? Did it panic off the table? No, if you can look at the crudely built orc watchtower there in the background with some goblins standing on it, all of those goblins went into that tower to fight some dryads. Actually, that was a terrible move, and I made it just not thinking about it. I moved the chariot, as you can see, to try and hide behind the building, which was an okay move. The wolf chariots are still hanging back, trying to deal with the eagle over there and try to swing around and flank. And you can see my slightly depleted savage orcs really wanting blood at this point, and you can't tell it, but the sinister statue has caused some damage to my squigs, but that's to be expected. This is just a picture here of his lines at the end of my turn 1, beginning of his turn 2. You can get a little view of everything. The candle holder there is a building. It's just a straight building. Nothing special about it. We've got his forest in the background there. Some obstacles around that building that the night goblins are hiding in. But pretty much you can see how things are looking on this, which is the real flank, and you get your first real big view of the rat ogre treekin man-bear pigs. Okay, here you've got a really blurry picture. Sorry about the quality there. Some of these are better than others. Hopefully I'll get better as I go. On Wood Elves turn 2, the sinister statue, which was the Easter Bunny, if I hadn't said that before in earlier pictures, plinked some wounds off of my boar chariot and Boron, the giant spider. The dryads charged the tower. Remember, I said that was a bad move. They're way outside the general's leadership, and the dryads actually get more attacks this way, so not so smart on my part. The eagle failed charges a chariot. The Eternal Guard charge into the squig herd, as you can see here, but they lose 8 thanks to the dangerous terrain test. He must have been pretty confident about the Eternal Guard versus the squigs. I know they get to attack first, and he's got his BSB in there and everything, but that really looks like a bad play. The scouts charge into the flank of my wolves like I hoped for them to do. They didn't wheel enough to get into the Chukka, so the Chukka is safe. Hopefully it is worth that sacrifice. Here's a better picture of the Dryad charge that I was really scared of into those 90 Night Goblins. So let's hope that we can really make a difference. After the movement phase, the magic phase is pretty uneventful. The shooting phase is pretty eventful, mostly because of my stupidity. He manages to pick off, with one of the archer groups, he manages to pick off the Goblin Shaman, who I left out in the open again, and he manages to kill 5 more Savage Orcs. So I'm down to about 25, 27, somewhere in there. Getting pretty frustrated at the number that are dropping to Strength 3 missile fire, but what are you going to do, right? And this is a picture after combat. I killed 1 Dryad. Well, okay, so here's what happened in this combat. The Dryads came in, and they made me so scared that I net myself. And so netted and facing some branch wraiths and really just all sorts of terror, I probably made a rookie mistake. I decided that I didn't want to send my characters down at Strength 5 and just get them shredded. Now that was a bad choice in retrospect. As you can see, I only killed 1. They killed 9 of my people, my little poor goblins, but miraculously I managed to hold on that mighty stubborn 6 outside of the BSB, outside of the general, and I push them back an inch. So take that, you dirty tree sprites, put on some bras and try again tomorrow. And here's a picture of how combat went with the squigs. It went better than I anticipated, and probably way, way worse for my opponent. Poor Tsuk, I don't think, has ever thrown toughness 3 things at a big old block of squigs. Especially they were either 7 or 8 wide, and they were just wide enough to corner in on the Eternal Guard. So we had all sorts of attacks. He killed, looks like, almost the entire back rank of my squigs, and I mean that's still like 21 attacks back on the Eternal Guard, and you can see what happened. He stuck around thanks to the BSB roll, but it was a pretty close thing. That's not something I think that he wants to repeat, just like I don't really want to repeat the miraculous holding of the goblins in the tower against the Dryads. Okay, start of Orcs turn 2, we decide that the Night Goblins can't take another beating like that. So, as you can see, all 3 chariots charge into the Dryads. That was bad news bears, Walter Matthau. For my opponent, my chariots are generally pretty good at killing things with their impact hits, so that's not going to go very well. I also charge with my Savage Orcs into the archers with the flame banner, and I fail that charge and because they flee. So, I mean, I guess at least they're not shooting at me this turn, right? And on my right flank, we've got the Boar Chariot and the Boron, the Arachnarok Spider, charging into the Treekin. They both passed their dangerous terrain test for that river, kind of ha-ha-ha mocking the scouts who lost 2 of their numbers before. Now I gotta say, going into this fight, I'm not actually really excited about it. Boron's strength 5 and non-magical attacks are really not up to the task of killing Treekin, Rat Ogre, Man Bear Pigs. And so I'm a little worried, which is why I committed the Chariot as well. But all things considered, if I mess up, or if I don't, roll a bunch of attacks, or a bunch of poison or something, or if he rolls a ruck of ward saves, I'm just up the creek, haha, because they're standing in a river. But if he makes a bunch of ward saves or I fluff my rolls, I'm really in deep crap. And so this was one I kind of did with trepidation, but I realized that the matchup was there, and that I didn't have anything on this table edge anymore to kind of lead them around. I had sacrificed the wolves, so it was time to put up or shut up, and I had to prove that Boron was in fact invincible. Now during the magic phase, I tried to cast Edbutt. It was dispelled. I was trying to pick off his general. I cast the powered up foot, and on the Glade Riders I killed 3. The second stomp, also on the Glade Riders, scattered off. The third stomp, I killed 1 Glade Rider, and they passed their panic test, and then Gork wanders off, thankfully not stomping on any of my other units. In shooting, my Laba fires at the Glade Riders, and I place the template right on top of the general, and because he has less than 5 at this point, and I get a hit, and he doesn't get a look out, sir, and I snipe his general out and kill 2 more, as you can see. So they're down to 2, but they pass their panic again. The Doom Diver misfires and explodes, and my Chuckas miss.